y'all never put a timetable on him. He's at a sprained shoulder, and I do not put it past Jalen Hurts. I don't put anything past Jalen Hurts as far as his mental and physical toughness. So there's a chance he could play this week. And so he is one of the toughest guys I know. And he heals fast. He's a freak. His body is not like, pardon me, yours or mine, right? And so I'm shaming myself there a little bit too. His body's not like ours. He heals fast. He came back fast from his injury last year. And I will not rule him out. I will not put a timetable on him. And we'll see. We'll see what happens this week. But both guys he'll be ready to go if he can play this week, and so will Gardner.
If it needs to be Gardner, how much of the offense changes, and where's your confidence level in there?
Yeah, again, we're going to have to plan for both guys to play. We're going to have a plan for Jalen to play. We're going to have a plan for Gardner to play, and so there will naturally be some differences. Because why? Because there's going to be things different that Gardner likes that Jalen might not like as much, and vice versa. And so that's there's always going to be slight differences because you go through the process with your quarterback who's playing in the game. And so, that'll mean a lot of extra work for us this week just to make sure they're both ready and and that we understand what they both like. But there'll be some differences, but not huge differences.
What would have to happen for him to be able to play Saturday? As far as is it pain tolerance? Is something you have to heal or?
Yeah, it's about the healing. It's about the healing process. Like with Jalen, like he hurt that, as you guys know, in the third quarter, and that hurt him. And you guys will talk to him. He was hurt. He was hurting, and he had a freaking great fourth quarter. So pain tolerance with this guy, I never worry about. He's a unbelievable competitor, unbelievable toughness. This is why every time there's a question asked about Jalen, the first thing that you get, regardless of how he's playing or whatnot, is about his leadership ability and his toughness, both mentally and physically. And so it'll be more about the healing with Jalen than it will be about the pain, because he can play through anything.
What have you seen from Gardner's ability to kind of stay ready this season? I mean, he's only gotten in a couple games.
Yeah, he's what you want out of your backup quarterback, to be ready with limited reps. Now we're able to do things differently here than I think at the most places I've been. We take a lot of time, and we have a lot of developmental reps. And I told you guys, like, some of the developmental periods that we stuck with from last year that we continue to have is like, hey, why are we, do we want to cut this? No, Gardner Minshew rule, right? Gardner wasn't here in the last training camp, right? 2 years ago training camp. And we gave him those developmental periods, and he developed in the offense. We already knew he was a great player, but he developed in the offense so that when if his number got called, he'd be ready to play, and he went out there and played. And so, it's Gardner first and foremost, his ability to, be able to do a lot without reps, because just how high his football IQ is.
Is Jalen going to be taking part in the walkthrough this afternoon?
We'll see. We'll see. That I'm not quite sure where we'll be yet with that. Like, he might be doing some rehab with it. I got to talk to these guys still, so we'll see.
This is the second December that he's gotten injured. I recognize that it were two different types of plays, but do you have to kind of reevaluate the way that you're deploying?
Yeah, I mean, the last injury was in the pocket on a sack. This injury was on a zone read. And so, for us to be the explosive offense that we want to be, Jalen is a very good passer, and he's shown that he's become a better passer by each game that he plays. But he's also in that MVP race, which, in my opinion, he's played better than anybody in this league so far this year. And, he's in that MVP race because of his dual threat ability, with his ability to not only do what he's been doing passing the ball, but also what he's been doing running the football. And that comes different ways. I think he's got, what does he have, 13 touchdowns of different ways to do that. So like I said, we're always going to think about his safety first. And I know you guys are probably like, well, he got hurt. Well, he also ran for 180 yards against Green Bay. And I get it. Sometimes it's a result-based thing. Like, well, he didn't get hurt that one. He's our MVP. Oh, he did get hurt. What are you guys doing, right? And so I get that. I get that that's going to be part of the scrutiny, and I understand that. But we are who we are as an offense, explosively, scoring-wise, all those different things, because Jalen can do so many things, both running the football and passing the football.
As a playoff team with big aspirations, why not be patient? And how do you factor that into the approach?
Because we don't take anything for granted. We want to make sure that we go out there and take care of our business. So we need to. We all know we need to win one more game to make sure that we have our win the division, and that's your first goal that you want to do. And so we want to go out there and win this game. And if a guy's ready to play, then he's ready to play. Like, we're never going to put the guy in a scenario where we're going to be, detrimental to him, right, or set him back. So it is all about if he's ready to play. And we think that that's a possibility.
So you're saying it's black and white?
I'm saying, pardon me.
So you're saying it's black and white, either he's ready or he's not?
Yeah.
Or is there a gray area where?
Yeah, I mean, you want everything to be black and white in this game, but in all, I've learned this a long time ago, and a lot, like, we want it to be black and white with his reads. We want it to be black and white with his checks, but there's elements of gray that you have to live in. So we'd love for it to be completely black and white, but we gotta, it might not be. There might be some elements of gray in there.
So as a coach, the Cowboys are a team that you might see in the playoffs, with this game coming up in the playoffs, relatively soon. How do you balance that in terms of preparing for this game?
You got to do what you got to do to win this game, and that's always our sole focus. And you start to think, and then there's a time for after this game, be like, all right, what did we do this game? How can we mesh this, or how can we do that to make it look like this? And so you do what you need to do to win every single game. You always are in the moment. Like, you guys will always, you'll never get that out of me where I'm saying, hey, let's think about in 3 weeks here. It's always, how do we do what we need to do to win this game? And that will be on our fore, and then we'll worry about how we mesh things together later if we do play them again.
Getting back to that gray area you were talking about, as a coach, we all know Jalen's toughness. Is there a time where you've had to pull a player back? Does he kind of know he wants to play, but maybe?
Yeah, of course. You always have to protect the player. If these guys, they all want to play through everything, and that's why we know we're a tough football team. Why are we tough? Because of the men that sit in these seats out here. They're tough guys. They're tough. They're physical. They're tough. That's why we're tough. And so you always have to do what you think's best for them. Like, hey, can this injury get any worse? Can it, all these different things. Can he play through this? Or can he not do through this? And so we have to do the things we need to do to protect, them. Because I know our guys. I know they're going to want to play through everything. And so hey, I'm not a doctor either, and so I'm not making the decision on if the shoulder is stable this week or whatever. I'm taking the information that we're getting there, and then we'll make a decision that's best for Jalen.
If Gardner Minshew does play, it seemed like him and Dallas Goedert had a connection last year in the game that he played. How big would that be to have Dallas back this week?
Yeah, obviously, no matter who plays quarterback for us, Dallas Goedert is a weapon to, for this football team. And the more good players you can have on the field, the better, right? And so, I've said this before, or right after Dallas got hurt, I said, when Dallas gets back, you guys asked me where is it going to go from here? Is it, who's the system running through now, or who's the plays running through? And I said AJ and Devontae will get more, and then we got to mix it up. Well, Dallas is back now. We'll run through those three guys again.
Nick, even before the play where Jalen got hurt, there were quite a few where he took big hits on those read plays. In game, do you have those conversations to figure out if the risk is worth the reward? Yeah,
sure. Always. If we feel like. What happened on the play where he got hurt, we had run that play earlier in the game, and I think we got 5 on it, and we were able to pin the edge, right, with number 9 with Brisker. Pascal pinned the edge. We got around the outside, which is what the design of the play was. Well, at the snap of this one, the second time, we had to block out because Brisker jumped outside. Good recognition by him. And what happened was the guy that gave us the pull read retraced and was able to to get back in on the play. I mean, that's just what. I mean, you guys watch the tape. That's what happened. And so again, you're always thinking that you're safe because you don't want to put them in harm's way in the first place. Like really, at the end of the day, we had 2 plays that were called runs for Jalen, and that he actually, you asked me about it. He checked to those 2 and then there was one other one. He checked to 2, and then there was one called run, and the rest were zone reads. And what the benefit of zone read is, we have this great offensive line, but I was always taught you win games on the front side and you win big ones on the backside, right? The backside wins, it was really easy as this. Front side wins games, backside wins championships. So we got to be great. And the whole point of it was like, you have to be great on the backside. And well, sometimes on the backside, what happens is your angles aren't good, right? You might have good angles to this side, but the backside has to reach and get through. So what's a way to counter that? Well, you counter that with zone replays, right? And so now you're reading the backside and with better angles as opposed to trying to cut off the backside. That is a huge part of our success in the run game, and a huge part. It's just, and sometimes we're not even running zone reads. Sometimes it's just the threat of Jalen to potentially pull. So, I'm not, that's a strength of our offense that we got to continue to have if we want to be successful. And like I said, I mean, we're always going to be thinking about how to protect Jalen. That one, he got hurt on that one. So ultimately, that still comes back to me. But we're trying like crazy to every single time we run one of those plays to protect them. And what happened on that play was it got spit back inside.
A year ago, Jalen stood up there and said he was going to play against the Jets, and you guys listed him as a limited participant. How much does he have to practice to be able to play? And what happened last year in that went from him saying he's going to play to him not playing?
Every game's a little, like every player's a little different on, I wouldn't say, hey, this is the rule. Like if you don't practice, you don't play. Like I think that's a living in an extreme world. And like, wise man avoids all extremes, right? You don't just say, hey, this is it when it comes to that. And there's some things you do that with, but not this. And so, I don't have a clear cut. There's some gray here. Right? I don't have a clear cut answer for you, like to say he's got to do this. He's just got to show that he's healthy. And then if he shows us he's healthy enough to play on Saturday, then he shows us he's healthy enough to play, or Friday, then he shows us that. What changed a year ago at the Jets was your second part, that we listed him out. It was simply that we didn't feel like he was ready, and we wanted to protect him, and we knew we were very capable and in great hands with Gardner Minshew.
Couple more, folks. Attention is going to the availability, but the thrown shoulder is important for a QB. When he's back, what sense do you have of how his performance could be affected by this?
Yeah, not there yet. Not there yet. Like I said, we will play him when he's ready to play. If that's this week, that's this week. If it's next week, it's next week. And when Jalen's ready to play, he's ready to play, right? All aspects of it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
I noticed Miles didn't touch the ball until midway through the second quarter. I know what you said about RPOs and all that, but should he have gotten some more?
Yeah, I got to give him just some called runs, and Shane and I, that's our job, is just to make sure we get him some called runs that he can get the touches early. Now we were throwing it a little bit more, based off why were we throwing it a little bit more? Well, the defense that Coach Flus and Alan Williams, their defensive coordinator, were running, left us one-on-one in places we felt like we had matchups. And so, and that's not, we ran run plays too. It was just, we ran some zone read stuffs. And then sometimes on a run play, you have a advantage look that you throw out there and you try to get what you get there. But we felt like we had matchups that we liked on the perimeter, and I think those guys showed that they won those matchups. Those two guys had really good games. They were our players of the game this week, and but with all that being said, I got to get myself and Shane have to give Miles some called runs, because Miles is a great player, and we got to get him some touches early. we didn't. The time of possession was a little off too. Like I think the time of possession was. I don't know. You guys would know better. Maybe 22-8 in the first half. So we didn't have a ton of plays either. That ideally until we had a 2-minute drive late in the half. But all that being said, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But with all that being said, we got to get him some touches early, and that's my job to do that. And so I take full responsibility for that.
How's he been running? It seems like he's been a more physical, decisive runner
Miles?
this year than his first 3 years.
Miles? Yeah, I think he just keeps getting better. I think he's running the crap out of the ball. I think he's doing a really nice job of being decisive. I think he's doing a really nice job of being physical. I think he's doing a really nice job. I say this after his only fumble, but he's got a lot of touches. He's done a nice job of, protecting the football and then protecting the quarterback. I just think his whole game as continues to evolve. And so I'm really pleased with how Miles Sanders is playing. And to your point, Martin, yeah, we got, because I'm pleased with him. He should get the ball more. And so make no mistake about that.
All right. Thanks, guys.